Kenma hadn't spoken in 2 days. Not in full sentences. He grunted when needed, nodded, pointed. The world around him had reduced itself to this: the harsh glow of his monitors, the ticking of the analog clock above the door, the ever-refreshing hellscape of anonymous burner accounts and timed uploads. His body was bone-tired, but his brain was ice-bright. Every nerve was dedicated to one thing: finding Akaashi. The call, the one where they slapped him, replayed in his head constantly. But it wasn't just the violence that haunted Kenma. It was the look in Akaashi's eyes. Not fear, not pleading. There was a flicker beneath it all, faint, but unmistakable. Relief. Not for himself, but that it was him hurting, not them. Even through the chaos, even through the agony, he was still thinking of the rest of them. Still choosing it. Kenma felt it hit him like a wave. Akaashi wasn't giving up. He wouldn't. He was too smart, too stubborn, and they had too much left. Too many things unsaid. Too many memories still to make. Too many dreams waiting on the other side of this. This wasn't the end. It couldn't be. Akaashi knew that. He had to find him. At 2:17 a.m., a new video uploaded to an untraceable burner account. 10 seconds long. No caption. Kenma's alerts picked it up the moment it went live. He opened it with shaking fingers. The image was nothing, just a tilted shot of a concrete wall. Bare, unmoving. But the sound. White noise. The soft hum of a camera. Then, faintly, so faintly it almost didn't register. Akaashi's voice. Humming. Kenma's breath caught in his throat. He boosted the audio. Filtered the background. Layered frequencies. And there it was. That melody. No way. It was his first stream intro theme. The one he'd coded himself, glitchy and rough and terrible. The one he thought no one remembered. But Akaashi had remembered. Kenma's eyes burned. The melody wasn't a comfort hum. It was a breadcrumb. Kenma played it back on loop, matching it against his archived stream files until the alignment was perfect. He burst out of the room, searching until he found Bakuto and Kuru, worn and weary, bodies heavy with sleepless nights and minds frayed by endless worry. "I found something. He's sending me a message." "What is it?" Bakuto asked hoarsely. "My old stream theme. The first one. From 2017. He remembered every note. Flashback, 2017. It was 3:04 a.m. in the dim corner of Kenma's apartment, the kind of hour where everything felt heavier and quieter. Outside, rain tapped lazily against the windows, as if even the weather was too tired to commit. Kenma sat hunched over his desk, headphones askew, his monitor frozen on a half-rendered video. His editing software had crashed for the third time, and the audio file was a mess, distorted, uneven, half of it completely unrecoverable. He sighed sharply, slumping back in his chair, arms dangling at his sides. This is actual trash. Behind him, soft footsteps padded across the hardwood. Is that your professional opinion? Akaashi was at the door, amused and a little too awake for the hour. Kenma turned his head slightly to find him standing in the doorway, hoodie hanging loose off one shoulder, two mismatched mugs of tea in hand. His hair was a flattened mess on one side, and his expression was lazy, half-lidded. Kenma raised an eyebrow. "You're still up. I never went to sleep." "You were muttering like a haunted NPC. Hard to ignore." He handed Kenma a mug without asking. Kenma took it, hands wrapping around the ceramic, grateful for the warmth. "Sorry. I didn't say I minded." The rain picked up slightly. On the monitor, the frozen frame of the failed intro glitched once more before vanishing. Kenma groaned. "I've reworked this intro 4 times and it still sounds like static with a god complex." Akaashi sat on the edge of the bed, one leg folded beneath him, tea resting in his lap. "It has charm. A kind of chaotic sincerity." Kenma gave him a look. "You're trying very hard not to call it bad." Akaashi smiled, small, sly. "I'm trying very hard to not kiss you while you're frustrated. So let's not talk about the music." Kenma froze. Then blinked. Then looked back at the screen, ears turning pink. "You can't just say stuff like that when I'm actively spiraling. You seem fine." Kenma made a strangled noise in the back of his throat. Akaashi sipped his tea, clearly enjoying himself. They let the silence sit. It wasn't awkward. It never really was between them. The track restarted again, the glitchy, offbeat theme playing through the broken timeline. Kenma watched it, jaw tight. You think anyone's actually going to care about this? This stream, this dumb music, this whole thing? Akaashi's voice softened. You do. That's not the same. It's the most important part. Kenma stared at the waveform on screen. He didn't answer. Akaashi set his mug down and walked over, standing beside him, close enough that their arms brushed. I'm serious. This theme, it's unmistakably you. Glitchy and stubborn and oddly hopeful. Kenma side-eyed him. You're projecting. Akaashi smirked. Maybe. He leaned in a little, voice dropping just enough to make Kenma's heart hitch. But for what it's worth, this is going to stick in my head. Forever. The theme. The moment. But the theme too. A silence bloomed between them, the kind that hums instead of rings. Kenma looked down at the waveform again. You're weird. You like that about me. Kenma didn't answer, but he didn't move away, either. Return to present. Kuru blinked. That's incredibly specific. Exactly. It's not a random habit. He's pointing at me, telling me the guy's watching the old streams. Probably playing them out loud. He's hinting that I need to use that to trace them. Kuru was already nodding. So we track any activity tied to people digging into your archive. I'm already doing that. His voice was like glass. Focused. And that clip, the sound in the background is warped. But it's got ambient cues. An echo, maybe concrete walls, a slight flicker in voltage, like an old breaker cycling. He started typing again, faster now. If I overlay that sound profile against infrastructure scans of Kanagawa, abandoned or closed buildings with subterranean access, or thick enough walls for that kind of echo, you'll narrow it down. Bakudo stepped forward, hands clenched. Why now? Why would the guy upload that? Kenma's voice dropped. Because he's starting to unravel. Or show off. Or both. He turned to look at them fully for the first time in hours. But he messed up. Akaashi's smarter than him. He knew I'd find that melody. By morning, they had a list. 9 structures. Abandoned, isolated, and just close enough to old streaming archive data pings to be suspicious. At the top of the list, a burned-out house on the edge of a rural block in Kanagawa. No activity in 5 years. But Kenma pulled up the metadata from the audio again. An invisible blip. A fingerprint in the wave. There it was. A low-frequency pulse that didn't belong to any background sound. A broadcast jammer. That house. Kenma said, pointing. He's using a signal dampener. Trying to mask the router he's got running inside. How do you know? Because I used the same tech on a failed stealth launch. For a game stream once. It leaves a signature. He's copying something I built 5 years ago. Kenma sat back. His hands were cold, but his mind was a live wire. He could almost feel Akaashi's breath on the back of his neck. His voice in his ear, soft and amused. Of all the people to underestimate, he chose you. Kenma's chest ached. He would not lose him. They packed fast. Kuru grabbed tactical gear and a medical kit. Bakudo shouldered a crowbar and pulled on fingerless gloves. Kenma stuffed spare hard drives, a signal reader, and a portable jammer neutralizer into his backpack. The drive to Kanagawa would take just over an hour. But Kenma already felt the clock burning in his bones. Akaashi had started the countdown. It was up to them to finish it. Part 7 coming soon. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and hit that like button. See you in the next one.